Hi everyone, Lee Pacchia here, and you are watching The Business of Law, the only web TV show focusing on both the challenges and the opportunities facing the legal profession. My guest today is Mark Cohen. He's founder and CEO of LegalMosaic. He joins us today from Washington, D.C. over Skype, where one would think it's 200 degrees and humid, but to hear Mark tell it, the weather's actually pretty good down there. Isn't that right, Mark?
Sure is, hence the open buttons, Lee.
There you go. So instead of our usual heady philosophical stuff, I thought we would drill down today and get very, very specific, look at just one firm that had some really interesting news this week. BakerHostetler had a memo that was leaked to Above the Law and was also picked up at Bloomberg BNA, talking about the policy recommendation that they do away with a two-tier partnership structure, that is to say equity and non-equity partners, and go to a single tier model. What do you make of this?
Well, on the face of it, Lee, you would think that it's a good thing because the trend has been, of course, towards a more constrictive view of who becomes an equity partner. But when you look behind the covers a little, you see that it may be a case of a firm trying to basically enhance its standing within the rankings as set forth by the American lawyer, which are all important these days.
So is this something entirely new that we're seeing out of the BakerHostetler camp, or have other firms gone ahead and done something like this?
Well, let me put the question in this perspective. It's a story that really goes back to 1985, 30 years ago, when the American lawyer first came out with profit per partner. And at that time, there was a lot of back and forth about, how useful a metric was this in terms of gauging a firm's profitability, not to mention, a firm's quality. And ever since that time, Lee, there have been lots of, dare I say, games played by law firms to try to game the system, because PPP has become the ultimate metric in the eyes of law firms, and more particularly in their ability to get top talent and recruit laterals.
So it's interesting to hear you say it. This is more about rankings than anything else. I thought we might be talking today about a firm that's looking to reduce headcount in some way.
Well, I think that there is definitely the headcount element that may be implicit in it. But I think what you're really seeing here is a firm that, is struggling to find ways to, sort of enhance its standing within the legal community. It's getting increasingly competitive out there, as you well know, and a small group of about 20 firms have clearly separated themselves from the pack, at least in this country. And so that puts a tremendous amount of pressure on the other firms to try to do something, to sort of enhance their standing. That's really the take that I have on this.
Yeah. Now, we really should stress here, this is just a policy recommendation that found its way into the news flow. One can see a scenario where management would be unhappy about this. You could also imagine a world where they might be happy that this is out and people are talking about it. Let's put that aside for a moment. How likely do you think it is to come to pass that this firm is going to go to a single-tier model?
Well, let me preface it by saying that I do not have any inside information. I just read the same report that you did. So, really, I'm engaging in some speculation, both as to what's really behind the leaking of it, why it happened, and what we can read into it. But I would say, that to the extent that rankings really cannot be overstated in their importance, I think that it's entirely possible that that's really what's behind this. It certainly generated a lot of buzz about a firm that otherwise very often, I think, operates under most people's radar.
Mark, if you were starting or taking over a large law firm tomorrow, you're king of the hill, would you like to have a two-tier partnership structure or a single-tier partnership structure?
That's a great question. I think, Lee, that a partner should be a partner, and I think that we've seen, with non-equity partners, a whole term coming out called de-equitized, meaning that they may be some of the best lawyers in the firm, but if they're not rainmakers, they become expendable in today's financial structure. So I would rather see people have a real equity stake for what that means in a law firm, in a firm, because I think it's much more meaningful. And I think the distinction of equity and non-equity, in my opinion, makes a mockery of the whole notion of a partnership.
Mark, always a pleasure. Thanks for stopping by and unpacking this with us.
Pleasure, Lee.
That's Mark Cohen, founder and CEO of LegalMosaic. If you'd like to see more of the stuff we're working on, be sure to go check us out online. You can find us at mimesislaw.com. You can also find us on Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. I'm Lee Pacchia. Thanks for watching.